Let's return now to that breaking news out of Bolivia. President of Bolivia, Luis Arce, says that Bolivia is facing a coup attempt. That's after videos showed armored vehicles and soldiers moving into Murillo Square in the center of La Paz. And bringing in now Kathryn Ledebur, who is a political commentator and director of the Andean Information Network. And she joins me now live from Cochabamba in Bolivia. Kathryn, thank you so much for joining me on the Al Jazeera News Hour. Our audience has been looking at these pictures that we've been seeing from Bolivian state TV of soldiers moving into La Paz. Talk us through the significance of this moment.
Well, I think it's very important to remember that Bolivia had an illegal government with the support of the military and a coup in 2019. And so we've had a return to democracy, but there continues to be impunity, although there are charges against some military officers and some political figures are in prison. But we have a structural problem in the armed forces. We have an Arce government that is facing economic difficulties, and a lack of coordination between different offices. And so a government that's particularly weak at this point in time. There's also an internal conflict in the governing party between President Arce and former President Evo Morales that had become quite extreme. At this point in time, or yesterday, the commander of the army, who had been handpicked by Arce and was his personal choice and passing over many other potential generals, made the decision to make very strong comments about Evo Morales, that they would arrest him, that they they were the armed body of the government, that they could take action. And this was a very inflammatory statement that led for many people to demand his resignation.
And Kathryn, as you were talking about General Zuniga, who has been telling reporters, as reported by local media, we are going to recover this homeland and restore democracy. Exactly how influential is the military in Bolivia, and how influential is this general?
Well, this general has had a very poor reputation even within the armed forces, and there was a lot of rejection within the armed forces for his appointment and a lot of internal resentment. But, the armed forces has a very long history. Bolivia is the South American country with more coups than any other nation, but enjoyed a very long period of democracy until the 2019 coup. And so the military has a bad reputation, but also made progress and didn't receive significant legal consequences or any sort of punishment or restructuring after this very anti-democratic activity in 2019 and 2020. And so they're not necessarily the most powerful institution, and they certainly have internal conflicts with the police. But at a point, during the last time, one member of the Santa Cruz far right, who is now imprisoned, admitted that his family had paid them. So there's a possibility that there's an economic incentive there. It's a possibility that they've gone to the highest bidder. It's a possibility that this is a show of force. There are statements now that say that Arce is changing commanders. We're not sure if this is going to all blow over or if this is going to become a significant crisis. But it's a very, very clear sign that the army is not firmly entrenched in democracy, nor the rest of the armed forces, that there needs to be a restructuring, that there needs to be they need to address the root causes of the 2019 violence and coup and the gross human rights violations that were documented by the Inter-American Human Rights Commission. And we need to find a solution with the support of the international community and with the support of the United States, which is one of the few nations in the hemisphere that has not spoken out against this anti-democratic attack and needs to do so immediately.
Well, Kathryn, I'll just let you know what our audience is looking at now on their screens. We're getting pictures of the new military leaders being sworn in, as we've just seen this breaking news alert that the President Luis Arce has announced 3 new heads of Bolivia's armed forces following the attempted coup. Exactly how significant is this at a a really tense moment like this?
Well, it's very, very hard to say. And it depends, what the position of Zúñiga is, what the backing is that he will have. There are sectors on the left that are highly critical of Arce that claim that he's been backed into a corner politically, that fuel shortages, lack of U.S. dollars, and other political crises have led him to kind of stage this in order to have a way out, or in order to make dramatic changes, or in order to alleviate pressure on his government. I have no idea whether or not that is true. It's something that we have been moved by the military. It's something that's concerned us a great deal because of the impunity from 2019 and because of an undemocratic track record of the armed forces in Bolivia. But we weren't expecting it today. Or this was something that... Go ahead.
Kathryn, we've just seen an alert that the new military chief, as we're looking at pictures now of this swearing in, has ordered troops to return home. Now, given that this apparent coup is already in the works, how likely does that seem to you?
Well, I think there's a good chance that that may happen. I mean, this may have been some aggressive sable rattling and warning. But anything could happen. I would say that the situation is extremely unpredictable now. I don't know if this, if this is a warning. This is a warning to the left. There were certainly ministers from the coup government in the previous coup government, now the current mayor of La Paz accompanying them in the plaza, although the former coup president had denounced it. I would say that the situation is very tense. It's unpredictable. We will hope that they back down, but you can't just put a Band-Aid on this and move forward. There needs to be some sort of significant, legal, appropriate action with due process that ensures Bolivian democracy at this point.
All right, Kathryn Ledebur, thank you so much for joining us live from Bolivia. We do appreciate your analysis, Kathryn.
Thank you very much.